Hey guys! So I just wanted to try my hand at a little bit of like freehand patriotic makeup. So I'm going to go in and do my foundation and concealer and everything just like normal. And then I'm going to play around with my eyes and just see what I come up with. So I am just going to go ahead and do all my foundation and concealer off camera and then come back and do whatever eye look I come up with. So stay tuned. So I'm back and I did my face. I've not set it yet because I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with my eyes yet completely. So I've not set my face yet in case I need to brush away some extra. I did put some additional transparent powder underneath my eyes so that hopefully any mistakes will kind of brush away a little bit easier. But I am just gonna dive right in and kind of see where it goes. I think I'm gonna use our creamy eyeshadow in red glaze. I think I'm gonna do that kind of up into my transition and on my lid brush. I did not do eyeshadow primer because with the creamy blushes, you don't necessarily need to do a primer. So I'm just going to pat that onto my lid. And once I have a decent base of that, I'm just going to kind of work it up into my transition. You do just have like a couple of minutes before these set. So I just kind of want to work it and get it kind of how I want it situated before it does that. Okay. So now that I've got it up kind of to my transition, I'm going to use fluffy brush to just kind of diffuse that even more. Okay, so I do want it just a touch more on my lid area. So I'm going to go back in with that more dense brush and just pack on a little bit more. I'm not as worried about kind of towards the interior, but I'm going to do the center portion and out of my lid, so that I can really get like a full color saturation. And I'm going to add some more kind of to the outer V here where I have hooded eyes. I'm just going to kind of try to make sure that I'm bringing up that crease so that it kind of opens up my eye more. I've got that pretty saturated. I think what I want to do is I'm going to take a little bit of Blue Moon, which is our creamy eyeshadow in blue. And I think I'm going to work that kind of underneath my lash line, heavier towards the outside and lighter towards the inside. But I'm just going to take kind of pencil brush, I guess, and go in there. I'm going to focus more towards the outside of the eye so that I can add some more depth, and then just kind of lightly drag the remainder towards the inside. Okay, so I've got kind of the red above and the blue below. Then I'm going to take our Cosmic pigment, which is the silver pigment that we have. And I'm going to play with that towards the inner portion of my lid. And I think so that I can get it to show up a little bit more of that silver neutral, I'm going to use our Patriotic eyeshadow primer. But I've just got kind of a concealer brush and I've got that on there. And I'm just patting that towards the inside of my eyelid there. And I'm gonna kind of just lightly bring it up. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to take just like a really flat, almost what I would consider a concealer brush, but I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna add this pigment on. I'm just gonna tap it straight into the pigment, and once I do that, I'm gonna mist it with the Time Locker setting spray, just so that it kind of makes it more bold. And I'm gonna go straight into that inner portion of the lid. Same thing. And just go to the other eye. So then once I have it just kind of on the lid, I'm actually going to pat out what I have remaining kind of above the lid. Okay, so it's kind of a little bit of a harsh line right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same blender brush and I'm going to kind of go above again. And this has that red on it, so it's going to still add in a little bit of that original red that we were working with, and kind of diffuse that pigment a little bit. So then what I'm also going to do is this line here down in the center is a little harsh. So I'm going to take that original red packing brush and I'm just going to kind of dab that line and slightly pull towards the outside. So it'll add in a little bit more red towards the center of the lid and kind of diffuse that line. So you can kind of see how this one's much more abrupt and this one is already just a little bit more subtle. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. So then what I want to do is this blue down here, I think I'm going to make it a little bit more dramatic. I've never used our blue pigment before, so I think I'm going to add a little bit of that in, probably towards the outside corner, so that it just kind of breaks this up and adds a little bit more pop of that blue there. So I'm going to take, this is like a bent liner brush, and this is our blue pigment. And again, this is just kind of like a little salt and pepper shaker. It's only got like 5 little holes in there, so you kind of can tap out as much or as little as you want. But I'm going to take and put just a little bit there in the lid, and then I'm going to use a liner brush and just pick up some of that. And then again, because I want it more bold, I'm going to spritz it with that setting spray. So then I'm just going to go out to that outside corner and just add a little bit of that color there. And it's not super dramatic, but it just adds a touch more depth with that blue. So you can kind of tell it's just a little bit more of a brighter blue. So I think I just want a touch there. Okay, so what I want to do is add more of the Cosmic to the inner corner here. So to do that, I'm going to go back in with that pencil brush. I'm just going to wipe off that blue pigment. I'm going to go in and just touch into that Cosmic and then just go to the center corner. And then just lightly touch to blend out. So then I do want just a touch more blue coming in. So I'm going to use some more of that blue pigment without spritzing it and go between the area that was spritzed and that Cosmic that I just blended out. And then again, I want it a little bit more subtle underneath the eye. So I'm just going to go in. And this is that original one that has the red on it, but I think it's mostly gone. So that's kind of where we stand there. Okay, so then what I want to do is we have this really pretty blue metallic liner. I'm going to take this and kind of create a wing there with it. And I'm just going to try to follow the angle of my eye so that it kind of opens it up and creates the illusion of a larger eye. I'm trying to make a larger wing so it's a little bit more dramatic. And then I'll go in and connect to the line. So it's not perfect, but I created kind of a larger wing. And then what I want to do is I'll actually have a silver metallic liner that I want to go in with as well and kind of do like a double line. And this will kind of give me the opportunity also to clean it up just a little bit. So I'm starting that silver all the way on the inner corner, and I'm just going to take it out over top of that blue. So it's just kind of a really dramatic double line look. Pretty even from what I can tell. I'm still letting it dry a little bit. Until it's dry, it will smear. Then what I can do is I noticed that there's a couple areas where it kind of got a little wonky. So I can just go back in with that red glaze and just kind of use that to clean up in that lower portion. And then I'll just kind of drag up so that it kind of blends it. I want to do like maybe not quite actual stars, but just kind of like some reminiscent spots under here, like not quite freckles, but I'm going to use like the Cosmic Pigment and then go over it with a dot of the silver liner too. So what I'm going to do is I feel like I'm safe on fallout now because I'm done with the eye portion. So I'm just going to go away or go and brush away that additional powder that I kind of put on a little bit thicker down here. And then I'm going to go in with that same kind of pencil brush, and I'm going to use the remaining Cosmic Pigment that I had pulled out. Because I'm going to do it in this area, I do want to go ahead and kind of pop up my highlighter just a touch before I do that, because I obviously can't do it after or else it will mess with my little stars that I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take my highlight and kind of follow the top of my cheekbone so that I get that nice glowy look. And then I'm going to go up here. I did go a little bit darker with the brow just so that it would kind of define that whole eye area a little bit more. I'm going to use my pencil brush on my Cosmic Pigment And I'm just going to kind of tap in some areas. Kind of random, but with a little symmetry. Okay, so I've just got those kind of dots along my face, a little bit on my nose. So then I'm going to take that same silver liner and I'm just going to take that brush and I'm going to kind of dot into the center of each of those spots. Some of those I'm just going to drag out a teeny tiny bit. And they're not going to be exactly symmetrical, but that's okay. Aside from that, I'm also just going to add some random silver sprinkles. Okay, so kind of just a sprinkling of stars. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a more dramatic mascara. I think I'm going to use the Starlook. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. So I'm just gonna let that sit for a second. While I let that sit, I'm gonna go ahead and spritz my face with setting spray. I'm just gonna let that dry. Go through and comb them again just because I don't prefer like a clumpy look. I know a lot of people like a clumpy look. I don't prefer that. I like my lashes to look more individualized and just amplified. So I'm gonna let this go ahead and dry. And then as soon as this dries, I'm gonna go through and just give it a good comb. But while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and do some eyeliner in my lower lash line to kind of give it even more definition and pop. So this is one of our waterproof colors. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this one so that area is nice and bright. Okay, so I've got that one on there, and I'm gonna do a little bit also a darker one to add some depth there as well. So this is gonna be number 2. And I'm just doing this one a little bit more towards the lash line. And then just so that that's not a harsh line, I want to make sure that I go in. And I'm just going to use that bent liner brush and kind of soften in that lash line a little. So then I'm going to go back to those eyelashes that are dry. I'm just going to take my comb. Okay. So I got those a little more separated. What I'm going to do is I got a tiny bit of mascara on my lid. So that's going to be dry. So I'm just going to take a spoolie and flick that away. So now that I have that, I'm just going to call that the look. So I hope you enjoyed this, and it lets you know that you don't necessarily need to go in with an idea of what you're going to do. Just pull some colors and play with it. It's makeup, so you're just kind of making it up as you go along. But again, I just hope you like the way it turned out and had some fun watching. Have a great night.